Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone. Let me ask you something, and I need you to really sit with this question before you answer it. When was the last time you truly felt at home inside yourself? Not comfortable, not busy, not needed. I mean home. That quiet sanctuary inside you, where no one is asking anything of you, where there is no list to finish, no wound to manage, no role to perform. Because here is something that psychology has confirmed, and that women like you have whispered to each other for centuries. The most disorienting transitions in a woman's life are rarely the dramatic ones. They are the quiet ones, the ones nobody throws a party for, the last child leaving home, the retirement, the diagnosis, the divorce you did not choose, the friend who is no longer here, the mirror that shows you someone you are still learning to recognize. These transitions, these threshold moments, they are not endings. Nobody told you that, and so you have been standing at this door unsure whether to knock or to walk away. Today, we are going to walk through it together. My name is Brené Brown, and I am a psychologist who has spent over 2 decades sitting across from women, remarkable women who came to me convinced that something was wrong with them. They said things like, I should be grateful. I know that. But I feel so lost. Everyone needs me, but I feel invisible. I don't know who I am anymore now that that chapter is over. And what I learned, what I want you to hear today, clearly and without apology, is this: what you are feeling is not a breakdown. It is a breakthrough that hasn't been named yet. Psychology calls these moments developmental transitions, but I prefer a simpler word: thresholds. You are standing at a threshold, and thresholds by nature are uncomfortable. You cannot be in 2 rooms at once. The research of psychologist Erik Erikson tells us that between roughly age 55 and 75, human beings are navigating a deep, soulful question about meaning, contribution, and legacy. And Brené Brown's work reminds us that the women who navigate this season with the most grace are not the ones who have it all figured out. They are the ones who are willing to say, I don't know what comes next, and I am going to love myself through the not knowing. You are not too old to grow. You are not too broken to heal. You are exactly at the threshold where transformation lives, and you have every gift you need to walk through it. Before we talk about mindfulness, I need to speak to you about your nervous system, because I want you to understand something that most women your age were never told: the anxiety you feel, the hypervigilance, the way your mind races at 3 a.m., the emotional waves that seem to arrive without warning, the fatigue that goes bone deep. These are not character flaws. These are neurological responses to a life that has asked an enormous amount of you. Your nervous system stores every experience it has ever been through, every grief, every moment of invisibility, every time you held yourself together so someone else could fall apart. It stores these things. And over decades, if those experiences were not processed, if you were not given permission or space to feel them fully, they live in your body as tension, as that low hum of unease, as the exhaustion that sleep alone cannot fix. And the beautiful truth, the healing truth, is that it is never too late to release them. Mindfulness is not about emptying your mind. It is not about becoming serene or unaffected. Real mindfulness, the kind that transforms, is about learning to be present with what is already there, without judgment, without the need to fix it immediately. It is about saying, I see you, I feel you, I am not afraid of you. And that begins with the breath. It always begins with the breath. I want to invite you to breathe with me right now. You do not need to pause. Just breathe along. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold gently at the top for a count of 7. Exhale completely through your mouth for a count of 8. Again. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. This is not just relaxation. This is your vagus nerve, the superhighway of your parasympathetic nervous system, receiving a direct signal that you are safe, that the emergency is over, that your body can begin to heal. Your breath has always been your sanctuary. You carry it with you everywhere. No one can take it. No transition can erase it. In any moment of overwhelm, it will always be there, your most faithful guide back to yourself. I want to speak directly to you, to where you actually are right now. Women between 55 and 75 are often navigating not one transition, but several simultaneously. And the reason it feels so heavy is that nobody has given them permission to acknowledge the full weight of what they are carrying. So let's name them, not to dwell, but because naming is the first act of healing. For decades, you were defined by your roles: mother, wife, caregiver, professional, and now as those roles shift or end, a frightening question surfaces: who am I when I am not being needed? The mindful answer, the true answer, is this: you were always more than your usefulness. Your worth was never contingent on your productivity. You are a whole person, not a collection of functions. Your body has changed, perhaps is still changing. And grief for a body that moved differently, felt differently, looked differently, that is a real grief. One that deserves tenderness. Mindfulness teaches us to move from a relationship of frustration with our bodies to one of gratitude. This body has carried you through every single thing you have ever survived. Everyone. Loss accumulates differently in this season. Friends, parents, partners, dreams, your own younger self. Grief, unacknowledged, does not disappear. It waits. It shows up as irritability, as insomnia, as a heaviness you cannot name. Giving grief its proper space. Not wallowing, but witnessing is one of the most healing things you can do. Here is the transition nobody talks about: freedom. Real freedom. Perhaps for the first time, no small children, no career to climb, and with it, unexpectedly, a kind of vertigo. Freedom can feel like falling until you learn to call it flying. At this stage of life, the soul begins asking bigger questions. What matters? What have I built? What will I leave? This is not morbid. This is the call toward your deepest, most essential self. If any of these transitions touch something in you, if you felt seen in even one of these words, would you take just one moment to share this with one sister or one friend who needs to hear this today? She may be carrying something silently that this could begin to release. Just one person. You'll know who she is. Now let's get practical, because Wisdom without tools is just beautiful words. And you deserve more than beautiful words. You deserve a life that actually feels different. These are 6 practices I have seen transform the lives of women exactly where you are. They are not complicated. They do not require equipment or youth or a perfect morning. They require only your presence and your willingness. Close your eyes or soften your gaze downward. I want you to build a place in your imagination. A sanctuary. It can be a garden, a room, a shore, a forest. Somewhere only you can go. Somewhere nothing is demanded of you. Notice what is there. The light, the temperature, the sound. Allow your nervous system to register this as real, because neurologically, the brain cannot fully distinguish between a vividly imagined peaceful place and an actual one. Your body will begin to respond with genuine calm. Spend 5 minutes here each morning, before the phone, before the news, before the world asks anything of you. This is your place. Build it. Return to it. Boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are the structures inside which love can breathe. And many women at this stage of life have spent so long without them that they have confused the absence of boundaries with selflessness. Here is the practice before you say yes to anything this week. Pause, take one breath, and ask yourself, am I saying yes from love and genuine desire, or am I saying yes from fear of disappointment? There is no shame in the answer, only information. And information is the beginning of change. A boundary is not a rejection of love. It is an act of profound self-respect that makes deeper love possible. You cannot pour from an empty vessel, and you cannot truly give what you have never allowed yourself to receive. Once a day, ideally before sleep or upon waking, try this. Lie still. Starting from the crown of your head, slowly move your awareness down through your body. Not to fix, not to judge. Simply to notice, where is there tension? Where is there ease? Where do you hold your grief? Where does your joy live? Your body has been speaking to you for decades in a language you were never taught to hear. This practice begins to teach you that language, not a gratitude list. Those done reflexively can become a way of skipping over the real feelings. Instead, try this each evening. Name one thing that was hard today. Acknowledge it fully. Then ask, what did this ask of me that was actually a strength? This is the gratitude of a woman who has lived, not gratitude that bypasses pain, but gratitude that transforms it. There is a difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the ache of unwanted isolation. Solitude is the deliberate, nourishing choice to be alone with yourself and to discover that you are good company. Schedule 15 minutes of sacred solitude each day. No tasks, no devices, no input. Just you. This is not laziness. This is the practice of a woman who is learning that her own presence is worth inhabiting. Solitude is not the absence of connection. It is connection of the deepest kind. Connection to the self that was always there, waiting patiently beneath the noise of a life well lived and a heart well given. Now, I want to go a little deeper because the outer practices, the breathing, the visualization, the solitude, they are the vessel. But the deeper work is about what we put inside that vessel. And what we put inside more than anything is story. We all have a story we tell ourselves about who we are, and many of the women I have worked with are carrying stories that were written for them in childhood, in marriages, in moments of failure or rejection, and they have been editing that story ever since, trying to make it less painful rather than rewriting it altogether. So here's a question, and I mean this as a genuine inquiry, not a rhetorical one. What is the story you tell yourself about what you deserve? Do you believe you deserve rest? Do you believe you deserve tenderness? Do you believe you deserve to take up space, not as a caregiver or a contributor, but simply as a woman who exists, and whose existence is in itself enough? And cognitive behavioral psychology and the more recent work in acceptance and commitment therapy tells us that we do not have to believe thought we think. Thoughts are not facts. The voice inside us that says, you're too much, or you're not enough, or it's too late, that voice is not truth. It is a pattern, and patterns can be changed. When a harsh, limiting thought arrives, and it will, instead of fighting it or believing it, simply notice it. You can even say gently, internally, I notice I am having the thought that I am not enough. That small step of noticing creates space between you and the thought. And in that space, grace begins to grow. Grace is not something you earn. It is not the reward